All right, now here we're going to look at a new way of finding the area of a triangle. Okay? Each of these problems are going to be concerned with finding the area of the triangle. And if you remember, the area of triangle, of course, is half the height times the base. And so if we come to this triangle per se and we look at it and say, well, what's the height? Okay, well here we'll draw in the height. Let's get a pen here. Okay, we'll draw in the height. And once the height is drawn in, here's my height. Of course, my height reaches from one vertex to the opposite side at a right angle. So we'll say that that means at D, and then I therefore know, I remember my area for a triangle is 1/2 the height times the base. Okay, so that's area is 1/2 that AD length times the base, which is CB. All right, so that's fine. That's my formula for the area of the triangle. I come up here, I said, whoa, wait a minute. Okay, I don't have a height. Furthermore, when we had the area of the triangle down here, it said we never even bothered with an angle. Never even asked a question. Well, what angle is that? What is angle is that? All I need to know is the height met at a right angle. Well, so that's what we're going to take advantage of with a new formula. Okay, because if you have the angle, we got a new formula that's going to work for us. So let me just share with you what I'm going to do. You say, okay, I'm going to come over here and I'm going to put the height in and say, okay, here now is that height in red. Okay, and we'll just label that as H for the height. And we say, well, how am I supposed to get that height? Okay, well, look at the triangle now. Look at the triangle, the newly formed triangle with that point D. You could say that height, why do I have that angle? That angle must mean something. Well, yes, with that angle, I can use trigonometry to find that height. Yes, because I could say that the sine of that 35-degree angle was equal to what? The opposite, which is H, over 8, which is the hypotenuse relative to that newly created right triangle there, so that the height is equal to 8 times the sine of that angle of 35, okay? And so that now that I have my height, I can find my area, which is going to be what? It's going to be 1/2, okay, the height times the base. And what's the base? The base is AB. Well, the base AB is 10, so it's 1/2 of 10 times the height, okay, which is been determined up here is 8 times the sine of 35. 8 times the sine of 35. Okay, so now all I have to do is say, oh, 1/2 of 10 is 5, and times 8, that's 40. 40, the sine of 35, and of course now I have to go to my calculator because I have to pick up the sine of 35, so we'll pick up the sine of 35 on my calculator. So the sine of 35 will be 0.57. Now I'm going to multiply that by 40 times 40, and there is the area of my triangle, roughly 23. We'll call it 23 square units, so 22.9. So the area here is going to equal 23. Can't get that written in for some reason. Here, let me go pull my pen up again. My area here is going to equal, what was that again? We'll go back and take a look, 22.94. 22.94. Okay, now, what do we do here? I got the same problem. No, I don't, because all I can do is draw my height in here again. Okay, here's my height. Now that is going to be designated as H. Now relative to that angle of 50, that's the opposite side, and the 7's now the hypotenuse. So the height is now, okay, well, first off, I use my sine ratio. My sine of 50 is the opposite, which is the height over 7. So 7 times the sine of 50 is equal to, okay, my height. And the area now is half the height times the base. The base is 6, so I'm going to put that first. The height is 7 times the sine of 50. And again, I can do this. That's going to be 21 the sine of 50. And maybe you can start seeing a pattern, because what's going on here is this, okay? Look what I get. I get 1/2 6 times 7 times the sine of 50. Look what I had over here. I had 1/2, okay, 10 times 8 times the sine of 35. Can you make a prediction over here as to what this area is going to equal? Well, let's go through and do the same thing and see what your prediction is. Again, okay, I'm going to make a right triangle here by dropping down this height and recognizing that the sine of that angle, sine of 25, okay, is equal to that height value over the hypotenuse, which this time is 20. So that h is equal to 20 times the sine of 25. So that now my area is going to equal, okay, 1/2, okay, the height, which is 20 sine of 25, times the base. Now that's coming down to the base, which is 20, so it's 20 for the base times 20 the sine of 25. Okay, so maybe you've got it. It's now going to equal 1/2 of 20, which is 10, so it's going to be 200 the sine of 25. So any guesses what it's going to be? The shortened formula. Once we look at it, we see what do we have? We have two sides of a triangle and the angle in between. Two sides of the triangle and the angle in between. It's like an SAS. It's two sides and the included angle. And can you see what the formula says? The formula says it's 1/2 the product of those two sides, 1/2 product of those two sides, and the sine of the angle in between. 1/2 the product of those two sides and the sine of the angle in between. So that's 1/2 of 8 times 10 times the sine of 35. That's what we got down here. 1/2 of 7 times 6 times the sine of the angle in between, 50. 1/2 of the product of the two sides, 20 times 20, times the sine of the angle in between. That's what's going to do it for us. So we now have another formula which we can look at. All right, so I'm going to come down here, and we're going to say, we're going to look at a triangle, any triangle at all. And we're going to say, okay, I have this angle is just going to call x. I have the two sides that make up that angle, A and B. So I can claim now that the area is equal to 1/2 A times B times the sine of the angle formed by those two sides. So it's 1/2 the area, new formula for the area now. I now have my area. My area is 1/2 the product of the two sides given and the sine of the angle in between. New formula for area of a triangle. 1/2 the product of the two sides and the angle formed by those two, the sine of the angle formed by those two sides. 1/2 A times B, the sine of x. What about a equilateral triangle? Okay, an equilateral triangle, 60 degrees. Okay, let's say it's 5 and 5. What's going to be the area? Area is going to equal 1/2 5 times 5 times the sine of 60. Okay? All right. Simple, real easy. What about this triangle over here? This angle is 120. This side is 8. This side is 15. What's the area? Area is equal to, look at what we got. Two sides in the included angle. 1/2 15 times 8 times the sine of 120. Done. Well, it's not done until we simply go and find key in those values. Of course, we can key in those values and go to our calculator. Simple enough. Okay, so we need the sine of 60. Okay, I'm asking my calculator for the sine of 60, and then I'm going to multiply that by what? 1/2 of 5 times 5. So times 0.5 times 5 times 5. My answer is 10.823. Area is equal to 10.823. What about over here? Okay, sine of 120, right? Sine of 120 times 1/2 of 15 times 8. 1/2 of 15 times 8. Do it again, okay? Go to the calculator. 1/2 0.5 times, what is it? 15 times 8 times the sine of 120. My area is, bingo, okay? There, that's all we have to do. There's our new formula. 1/2 side A times B times the sine of the included angle. Okay, it'll do it for you every time.